माय मोगाचो येवकार सगळे आमचे CCR TV पळयणाऱ्यांक warm welcome. Welcome to the panel discussion entitled Quo Vadis Goa. We have for the first time with us Justice Ferdino. He is the former Chief Justice of the Allahabad High Court, former judge of Bombay High Court, and was also a former member of the Goa Legislative Assembly. Was at one time president of Goa High Court Bar Association and was designated as senior advocate in 1995. An accomplished arbitrator and legal consultant, and was actively engaged in legal education and even now in social movements and sports. We welcome Honorable Justice Ferdino. We also have with us Advocate Cleofato Almeida Coutinho. Welcome, Advocate Cleofato. He served as a civil judge and judicial magistrate first class, senior practicing lawyer and a constitutional expert, one of Goa's topmost political analysts and commentator, was a former lecturer at Carre Law College teaching constitutional law and was president of South Goa Advocates Association. And Dr. Jorson Adv, welcome to you. A renowned ear, nose and throat surgeon, was deeply connected with Rotary, even now he is, having been the governor, and also qualified in occupational health. A crusader for clean environment and has been fighting for against industrial pollution. A crusader in the fight against coal transportation pollution in Goa and calling for stricter enforcement of existing regulations against the pollution from coal handling in Mormugao to prevent increased pollution, health hazards from coal dust and ecological damage. Welcome, Dr. Jorson. And we welcome Advocate Seoula from Margao. And she has been valiantly defending the rights of the sons and daughters of the soil against the heart-wrenching proceedings of land acquisition. She is strong, sharp and fearless leader, young and dynamic. Welcome, Advocate Seoula.
Thank you.
What we know is that Goa is losing its identity. In the past, Goa was attracted by its people for its pure air, lovely hills, mountains, rivers, friendly people, and a serene way of civilized life. However, Goa seems to be losing its identity due to a combination of several factors, including mass migration, rapid, uncontrollable development, unsustainable tourism, sale of land which is eroding its unique culture, natural landscape, what with rising bouncer culture and reputation as a safe destination. Goa is changing. It is changing pretty fast and not for the better. The government seems more focused on launching fancy projects than fixing basic infrastructure and roads. At the same time, the number of outsiders settling in Goa keeps increasing, and slowly the local Goan culture, language and sense of community are fading away. Crime rates are also going up, and what used to be a peaceful and safe Goa no longer feels that way now. In a few years, the real essence of Goa will be gone, just replaced by concrete and chaos. Will the Goans will be alliance in their own land? Will Goa be another Mumbai, completely filled, dominated, trashed and spoiled by these outsiders? Justice Ferdin, what is your say?
See, to answer that question, the first question we must ask ourselves is, who is selling the land? The land which is sold belongs to whom? I think the answer is obvious. It is Goans who own the land, either mostly from the Komindats, at least in these belts, and the other is the government lands in the other talukas with the novice conquistors, where there are no, maybe less comunidades. So, and the development so far had been in the coastal talukas. Now, coastal talukas basically were comunidades lands. So, I address myself to this first question. When you say outside of the purchasing, who is selling? Okay, we Goans are selling. Can something be done about it? Perhaps yes, I will deal with it in a moment's time or later on. But how, in what manner can we stop this rampaging construction that is going on? I have been advocating that there must be studies done of what is called the carrying capacity of the land, which means, yes, people are bound to come in for work. If people are bound into coming in for work, they require housing. So we must provide for that. But in providing for that, have you provided for infrastructure, water, sewage, roads? Now all these three factors in our villages are dismissal. In other words, we don't have carrying capacity to provide even drinking water. Take, for example, I stay in Donapaula, close to the city. We had to go to the High Court to ask us to give some water for at least some time in the day. High Court said 2 hours for us. But you come and ask our people, there are days there's a trickle, there are days there's no water, and maybe on occasions 1 hour of water. And the development that is taking place in the Donapala Talegaon belt, overnight, here you call it FSA, is changed. These were all residential colonies which had supposed to be bungalows. Now we have 6-7 stories coming up. The same water. Now if I don't have water, how will they have water? So everybody has to depend upon tankers, and tanker water is water pulled out from these wells or some fields. There is so far no sewerage in all this belt. So how are we allowing, when I say how are we allowing means the governments in power are allowing this to happen. So this is one question, that there is no carrying capacity, and worse still in the villages. Now earlier we were in this part, Salsed, Bardes, Tiswadi, which were the areas which have been developed. Now we are going into the hinterlands. Small pockets of 300, 500 square meters are being made and sold and marketed as whatever the names the marketing teams have. So if something is not done, and if something is not done, means who is going to do it? Governments in power are not going to do it because, they have a interest. Let me be frank about it. There is what is called a quid pro quo. In all these changes of lands, there is a quid pro quo. If all those laws which are brought into force by the central government against some individuals were applied to Goa, perhaps half these gentlemen would have gone into jails. But having said that, merely discussing, merely debating, you can't go leave it to the courts alone. The courts just do not have the time, they just do not have the wherewithal. You can handle so much, but you can't handle everything. So it is up to the people. Frankly, if you want Goa to remain, at least even at the time of the Konkani movement, we had noted the demographic changes in Goa. The Goan population was barely 55% or so. Now when you say Goan population, 61 cut-off line. Now, when you say people should not come in, now if Goans are not willing to work, somebody is bound to come to do that work. So that migration will not stop. But you can't allow migrants or anybody else to occupy government of Govinda's lands and then governments coming in and saying, regularize them. In law, there is a theory called a theory of trusteeship. Government may be the owner of the land, Govinda may be the owner of the land. But this doctrine of trusteeship in case of certain kinds of land prevents the government from alienating them other than for the purpose which they were there. Secondly, I am posing here a larger question. If we want the land to remain with the people, two concepts are perhaps I can suggest. One, don't allow sale of land. Somebody wants to construct, fine, create leases, long-term leases. So the title in the land does not vest. In the third party, title will remain with the original owners. Okay, this one part. The second part, immigration by Goans and the houses and properties being left without being used, multiple owners, big bungalows, small bungalows. Now Goa is attracting tourists. People don't want to stay only in hotels. They would like to stay also in small places where they feel more at home, where they can come, cook, have something and playground to play with. So why can't we think of in terms of putting proposals to use these residences of emigres? Now, if one person is there, of course, no difficulty. If there are multiple owners, some concept of multiple owners can share in the proceeds. Somebody takes over, corporation or individual corporation, private or state, and uses them for homestays. So if this to an extent is done, it may be possible to address some of the burning issues that are arising. Possibly it may not totally prevent, but one, yes, bring in a law that create leases, no sale, bring in help immigrants to retain their houses and develop it commercially either through a third person, Goan or otherwise, whatever it is. But let the houses remain in the ownership hands and they get a part of the profits which are generated. These are two suggestions I can make. And the third suggestion is, I don't expect, frankly, somebody may be hurt if I say so, governments to do much because money flows from conversion of lands. You can see the wholesale conversions that are taking place. The law says, irrespective of the Town and Country Planning Act, we cannot convert. But we have daily, so you read in the papers, land has been converted. So some point of time, I say the youth, but I don't know. People seem to be now at least galvanized in the south over the coal issue. But it has to happen everywhere. It is the youngsters, those who must now, people's movement has to be there to make leaders aware and change their thought process. So hats off to all of you all who are now spearheading and working for I will tell you, Frank, what happened. Problem was Marmangao port, the export of ore had stopped. Okay, they were in a terrible position of not having revenue to pay even the employees. Now, coal is going to Karnataka. It was supposed to go to Mangalore. It was opposed down there. People opposed. But our people over here, both sides, I will not comment which party, here and there, they agreed to it. And Port Trust had no choice but because of no revenue that they were getting something. But even if we are doing that, there has to be this much, no more. One. Two, there has to be transport which is clean. When you load and unload or take it up, people must not suffer the consequences of the coal being landed at a Mormungao port. So these are some thought processes in my mind. But unless, yes, people must awake. The juggernaut, the money power is too much in the hands of a few people. These are my thought processes of what holds for Goa, what perhaps can be done. But ultimately, it is the people's movement that has to be there. We have lived, we have done our bit possibly. Now, all that you can do is advise, help, legally. And somebody wants us to be in the forefront someday for some issue. Well, perhaps, yes, sit down with you all with the Satyagraha. But, yes, but then those of us who love Goa, across the board, we must have, time has come to be awake and do something about it.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Justice Ferdin. Advocate Cleofato, I would like to share with you what the MLA from Mandre, Jit Arolkar, who is in the ruling dispensation, he said, these non-Goans who are now here, they operate differently in other states, and that how they are operating in Goa, it will not be tolerated. And I quote what he said, we will not tolerate their dadagiri in Goa, and especially in Mandre. You know the incidents that have taken place. And we have the Chief Minister, Dr. Pramod, who said, I blame the migrants for the crime surge in Goa. And like Justice Rebello said, the problem pertaining to land issues also lies within us. Why do outsiders come here? Our own people sell land to outsiders. That's why the Delhi lobby is coming here. Oh.
The Rebello has clearly set out the agenda on the land position in Goa. I look at it from another angle. We are a state which is the highest tourism destination in the country. When we deal with carrying capacity, as Justice Rebello has said, we will also have to take what is the carrying capacity of tourism. Now, I am saying so because thousands of apartments are lying unused. Thousands of them vacant. And they are bought to be used maybe for 15 days a year at Christmas time, or maybe in the month of June when children get holiday. Otherwise, for 11 months or more, they are closed, and this is thousands of apartments. Now, how many apartments can Goa have, and how many apartments can Goa have to keep them closed? This is one serious issue that we have to comment. Now, Justice Rebello said that we Goans only are selling property. That is right. But selling property, I am afraid, is always driven by market economy. Nobody will decide not to sell. And the sale comes from the fact that that land will be converted, that land will get so much FSI, that land will get different zone. It is on this basis and on these theories that the land gets a rate which is so high that even many of the landlords may not be in a position to resist. So I am of that opinion that somehow, Rebello has just now said, and he is right, that so much of quid pro quo, who is going to do it? But somehow, conversion of land, change of zones, FSI, height of buildings, these areas have to be controlled. See, we have so many cases. In Bali some time back, when the government felt that tourism is going haywire, they brought a total ban on hotels. Total ban on hotels for a limited period. Of course, now they are lifting it. But like that, some drastic measure is required. And I am saying, we may think that the drastic measure is a dream, maybe a dream, but that drastic measure has to be in a complete freeze of change of zone and conversion of land. Complete, because we have built enough. I don't think we require building anymore, and whatever is converted so far maybe can be used. Second, as the question that is put is on land. Now, I don't think that there can be a restriction on land when we have one citizenship, a democratic country, and sometime back when Article 35A applicable to Jammu and Kashmir has been deleted, and the Supreme Court questioning as to how there could be two laws, one for permanent residents of Jammu and Kashmir, defined as permanent residents residing in 1927, and one for others. So they upheld the deletion of 35A, and now Ladakh is also demanding that such provisions. Now, unless you get provisions under 371 onwards, like what was proposed for us by Manohar Parrikar when he came to power, the special status whereby land will not be sold. Unless such proposals are accepted, I don't think sale will stop. And sale may not be, we may not be in a position to stop that sale. In some states like Uttarakhand, Himachal, they have brought in laws to restrict sale of agricultural land. I don't think anybody is buying agricultural land to be used as agriculture. And our government has also brought such a law. That law is useless because nobody is buying land for agriculture. We are buying land, agricultural land, either to build farmhouses. We buy agricultural land because it would be converted today or tomorrow. It is somebody's land bank which he will convert after 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. So,
Justice.
I just want to, you see, you spoke about Section 3 of the Goa Land Use Regulation Act 1991. That puts an embargo
on
conversion of agricultural
land which is tenanted. It is tenanted. Tenanted agricultural land.
On tenanted land, if I'm subject to.
Yeah.
But the land as defined under the Tenancy Act.
Tenancy Act.
So therefore, there are laws. Instance, the question only is, nobody is following the laws. Now, if we start compiling all the laws that are there, somebody does a thorough work, you will get and now the latest laws, for example, that if the land was given for a purpose A, you can't use it for any other purpose. Yes. Okay. Some petition was filed, court has something, but really not tested. But there are laws. But in spite of these laws, one law says, irrespective of the zoning, you can't convert. But there is a law.
No, that is exactly what I am saying. Don't allow change of zones, but don't convert.
But this kind of categories of, there's a law, but nobody's following the law, including the very bodies.
Actually, if change of zones is not permitted, then this problem gets solved, because people are buying land for use other than agriculture. In fact, in the Himachal law, they say if it is used for tourism, agro industries and such things, it can be used
for business,
commerce. And even in the Himachal law, they have defined a Himachali to be a person with 20 years. So a person with 20 years thereafter can buy.
So in CRZ, for example, the judgment which I gave that you can't develop other than etc., that is made part of the law now.
Yes.
But in spite of that, there is a mushrooming construction going on in this within the CRZ area. So nobody is implementing.
Correct. Nobody is implementing the laws, and we are in fact facilitating building of more and more and more.
Advocate Cleofato, this Uttarakhand, the law which they passed now, it was in February 2025. It prohibits non-residents from purchasing this type of land, this agricultural land, in 11 districts, not for all the districts, 2 are not there. And anyone from outside the state who buys residential land, it is limited to a maximum of 250 square meters. So they have restricted, and there are a lot of submission of affidavits, while commercial land purchases have a 500 square meter limit, that also only in the urban and the cities, not anywhere else. What they are talking is protection of culture. The new laws, they say, aim to protect the state's cultural identity, natural resources, by limiting land acquisition by non-residents.
See, correct. That is right. I am not. This is a new law.
Yeah.
Like that, so many states have brought so many laws restricting jobs for locals. Where are these laws now? Each one of these laws have been struck down by the High Court or the Supreme Court. In fact, that Himachal law was struck down at least on 2 occasions. A different law on sale of land.
Yeah.
So, at least to my mind, since we have single citizenship and we have a constitution, it may be difficult unless we get special status. One. And number 2, as Justice Ribello is saying, whatever laws are there, they should be implemented to the last dot. And there has to be a public movement to see to it that these are implemented.
I don't want this. Regarding the special status, when Governor Harmalkar was the speaker, he invited me. Mr. Parrikar was the chief minister. So I was invited to address MLAs and ex-MLAs on this issue. So the first question I asked them, what is the basis that you are going to meet the Prime Minister and say grant a special status? What is different between you and say Maharashtra decide, Karnataka decide? You are giving illustrations of the Northeast.
Correct.
Now those can't be illustrations because in Northeast there were insurgencies. And to
tribal population.
Bring them within the union and stop the insurgency, special status was given to Nagaland, Mizoram and others. Then the constitution itself provides for special protection to tribal areas.
Yes.
Now these are not tribal areas as somebody says some small village.
That is
These are huge areas where the tribal populations are there. So these are the exceptions carved out. We don't fall in any of the exceptions. Correct. So some politician may tell you nothing is going to happen, forget about it, politically you are nobody. You don't have the political strength to articulate, and there is also no legal basis, because if you get, then every state in the country must get special status. What is the difference? So, and that again, as you said, if you are one country, how do you create exception for every state?
So the special status is
absolutely out of the question.
Yes.
One MLA called me up saying, "What will you speak?" I said, "See, I will speak what is in my mind. I am not going to speak to pander to some fanciful concept with somebody, because I am going to articulate my views. I've been invited by the speaker to put my views, and views which I put will be views which are based on logic, are based on law, and on what is achievable.
Yes.
The Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, when he was asked similar question that we are now posing, he said, anyone is welcome to come, work and go, but ownership must remain with the sons and daughters of the soil.
Justice Rebello has been.
No, that's what I'm saying is, see, Article 19 allows freedom of that anybody can move, carry out business
and settle
in any part of the country. So we can't keep, you can't say you don't come in, as long as they are lawfully coming in, lawfully purchasing the land. What I'm articulating is, yes, you may purchase, but if you are going to give land, give it on long leases.
Correct, that is one. Now see, if
so the land remains in perpetuity with the in our hands. So if some such thing can be legally possible, and possibly it is possible to create leases, especially for example, but now some of the Kumindar lands, people have, Aframentos have been converted into amphitheses, but somewhere along the line something of this sort is done. And we have to think about it seriously, whether it can be done.
And I would say one more thing, see these flats and apartments, villas, which are bought and kept closed, the government or local authorities must tax them heavily for keeping it closed, with something like a no occupancy tax. You keep it closed but pay for it, and heavily.
It's very interesting.
And we talked about a strong...
Paid for keeping
I
it closed.
think you should bring in the other two.
Yeah.
we are the only ones speaking and dominant.
We talked about a strong opposition, a strong movement where all come together united, and in one voice you sell the opposition point.
It's important for us because what we saw in the yesteryears, coming from the same breed of youngsters, Cleofato and myself, the youth was, very conscious about their rights, very conscious about what Goa is, very conscious about what their future is going to be, wanted to build in the present what their future is going to be for themselves. And I think we saw a lot of agitations, we saw a lot of protests, not merely just because that we wanted to protest or agitate, but basically because we wanted to build up a future and a very smooth journey that we would propel through for ourselves, and that is what we saw. And that is what the drive you don't see in the present generation looking forward what they are going to have for themselves in the near future. That's one part of it. The second part of it is how much are we going to unite and fight with this present government? That's I'm talking about in terms of quantifying the agitation. The third part is when we are talking about the carrying capacity of every village. We have got the town and country planning department. Do they really do a study that you are ripping off the agricultural land, which is supposed to nothing but our food plate? So what are we going to have in our food plate if we are going to take off our agricultural land? You are converting all the mountains and all the hillocks. You are taking away our water tanks. You are taking our forests and you are taking our lungs off. So how is Goa going to thrive without the lungs, without the water tanks, and without anything into our food plate? This is something which the town and country planning should say and should give a paper where it is going to say that something of this sort you cannot touch at all. Having said that, yes, I do understand as a chairman of one of the societies of the housing society, like what Cleofato said, that we should charge very heavily for keeping your premises closed. There is a law for the housing societies. And I think the similar type of a law should be extended right up to the municipalities as well as the panchayat, where they should say, if you are going to keep your house closed and you want it to be maintained, then okay, you pay this much of tax. Or you put it for a commercial use yourself, where you are going to maintain the character of the particular village, where you are going to maintain the texture of that particular village. So without distorting our identity, without distorting our heritage and the culture, you let it off and you make your earnings, for which, like Justice Rebello has said, yes, we can have various organizations outside, inside, owned by Goans, non-Goans, coming in and chipping in, but the identity, the character, the texture and the heritage to be maintained at that level. So we have, looking in the future, you look back and you see what is your past. You look what is the present and you tell your people what we should maintain for the future. And that connectivity is something, a thought process that should go into the minds of the present generation that we should be looking forward for.
Advocate Seoula, what is your take on all this?
I'm the present generation now, what happens is, while being the present generation, when we start our work, they want us to do a lot of work, and then much later on they will say, now is your turn. That is what is happening with the present generation. You can't just come in, and you can't means you want to, but you can't just come in, because there is a lot of resistance from a table much like this, sorry, yes, and they are asking us to wait, mashe tu pikpa chemun, and then only you can sit somewhere respectable. But you have invited me, thank you. So that is the case with youngsters, only to brush up on that. But as far as what our discussion is, I just wanted to bring in a snippet from England. In England, when Trinity College in Belfast was being constructed, and they had various buildings. They had the Law College building, they had the mess or canteen building, and the physics building and all. So certain architects were called upon. These architects were told, you must build something beautiful in line with our British architecture. So one architect did a very bad job with the Law College. He was not paid. After that, a next architect was brought for the next building. They did a good job. Those buildings are present, they're still standing. They're just not beautiful, or rather they didn't ascribe to the aesthetics of the time. So they were not paid. So this was the policy of the Crown at that time for that place. We also have to have some policies. I'm not saying learn from here and there. We did have something where we believed in preserving our heritage. So the external facades of the houses in the heritage area of Margao are to be maintained in that fashion only. So in this way, some kind of attention to aesthetics, attention to heritage is required. And since Justice Rivello is also here, and also Senior Advocate Cleofato, I wanted to say that, we have a high court building. A high court building is like any other ordinary building. It's nice, it is well planned, there are good exits and all. But like any other building, that missed opportunity of showcasing our heritage is there. There's a missed opportunity over there. So there is a little bit of, I don't think young people were in the construction and in the architecture team for that. So what is happening is a little bit of loss of identity, I think, is there among Goans, among Goan minds. It is romanticized, but it is not there in action. And secondly, the migrants are coming, they have to come also, as Justice has pointed out, some jobs we will not do. Actually, let us not even blame ourselves. We will not do, because we don't want to do some menial jobs. It's okay. It's fine. We don't want to do some jobs, and we don't want, every farmer also is saying they want to educate their children so that the children do something other than that. Every maid also wants to educate their children so that they can do something other than that. So that kind of amelioration will take place among the population. And that means that other population will come and fill in those spaces. But once this migration is a fact everywhere, it will always happen. So once this is happening, still there have to be some defenses by us for retaining that culture and that Goanness. For that, as Dotor also has pointed out, in Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, and as you also yourself have pointed out, there are some definitions which they have incorporated in their laws. And what they are saying is, they have understood that you have to go around the subject and not directly at the subject. That's why they are saying agriculturists. So the land which is agricultural land shall not be sold to non-agriculturists. Now they know, as per their demographic, that the non-agriculturist is always somebody outside, or rather, so to ensure that the outside person, they can't say non-Uttarakhandi, So to ensure that the outside person does not come in, they are saying non-agriculturists. By this, they have gone per the subject very well. And they have not even discriminated on the basis of place of birth. So constitutionally, they would be quite secure. So non-agriculturists cannot purchase that land, and they still can purchase, as you have pointed out, 250 square meters maximum.
Yes, there are restrictions.
That is the restriction, that's the ceiling. And beyond that, if you want to have some acres and acres, then your project has to be passed. It has to be a school, a hospital, a tourism hub or something like that. That has to be passed by the government. Now the governments and all are...
Yeah, but then the governments of Jharkhand also and Uttarakhand, they say that steps that they have taken, they are historic steps to protect the resources of the state, cultural heritage and the rights of the citizens, as well as they play an important role in maintaining the original identity of the state. Justice Rebello, how would you see?
Both Jharkhand and Uttarakhand have tribal populations, okay, and the constitution itself provides certain protection to those tribal areas. So those are things which we can't really. But subject to Cleofato correcting me, I just went to Section 3 Cleofato of the Goa Land Use Regulation Act 1991 is not only to tenanted land. The definition of tenanted land of agriculture is incorporated. No, definition of agriculture is incorporated into the land. So therefore, there a non-agriculturalist cannot use. Now certain exceptions have been carved out. Some company, somebody wants to come but carry on agricultural operation. They may be permitted. So there are some subsisting laws like elsewhere, but nobody is looking at them.
No, here the problem is we are directly converting that agricultural land to a commercial zone, to a residential zone, and thereafter it ceases to be agricultural. And then you say this law does not apply.
Yeah, as Dr. has said, the division of land, that is the policy which should be paid attention to.
That will never be allowed to be change of zone will not be
Change
permitted.
of zone should not be.
But they are doing it.
Yes, that is
rampant.
That is right. That somewhere.
Because they will always have an.
Years ago, I was confronted with a judgment of the Bombay High Court Division Bench. That judgment said that change of character of the plan means not only mere changes, it must alter the entire character of the plan. I had my own views on that. Unfortunately, the matter never came to me before a division bench to have a fresh look at it. Because according to me, if you take into consideration every aspect while framing that land, the plan for the next 20 years, 40 years, whatever it may be. So you have taken into consideration all these factors, carrying capacities, the need, etc., etc. Now in between you are practically altering everything. Land which was zoned for agriculture, you are allowing it to some provisions, whatever provisions they have made. Some High Court has said some, I don't know what, something has been said about it. But then if people in power or MLAs, now let me be frank and brutal about it.
Yes.
You see the names.
Correct. But see,
these are MLAs who are applying. These are newspaper houses who are applying, owners of newspaper houses. I will not name them because their names are shown down there. They are industrialists who are given money to all these bonds. These are the people who have applied for conversion of these lands. So the entire people with money controlling your media, controlling the resources, and the ones who have got the political might are today changing the character of Goa. And we as Goans just do not have the strength to fight them. We just give up.
Yes, and they feel that the strength to them comes at election time.
Yes.
That is their thing is, we are at election, we have been voted, we have been told to do this.
But basically the entire opposition is divided and they plan according to their
So
own.
let us not go in that far, because some of the gentlemen, they also doing the same thing. Coming to power, they'll do the same thing.
Yes, they'll do the same. They have done it. They have done it.
Unless a new generation of youngsters are thrown up by these parties,
Correct.
with a different mental setup, at least
absolutely,
for the first 5-10 years, they will not be corrupt.
Yes.
Correct.
After that, what may happen, we
Yes,
does not know.
yes.
But an entire new generation of people must come in who have some motivation, who have some love for your land, who have some that integrity is something. Okay, for politics you may require some money here and there. Fine, that is the what is happening today in Goa, everywhere in India. But somewhere there has to be saying enough is enough. For enough is not enough. Everybody wants to make, for not for this generation, for 100 generations.
Like a long lease.
Yes. And all these laws, money laundering laws, do not apply to them.
Correct.
But we had a very dynamic youth in the days gone by. Some of them even became judges and all that. But off now, it is dead. Why is that the youth today is not participating actively to stall all this ill happening?
No, it's Jovit, what's happening is even in the colleges, if you ever look, there's a small little group that comes up. There will be a lot of the teachers who are in that teaching fraternity who will be told and who will be directed how to take revenge, how to coerce those students so that they are being bent or broken down, and they fall in the line that what the people want. And this is also one part of it, not that is happening almost everywhere.
You see the new generations in Nepal, in Bangladesh.
Yes. It's totally
across Africa.
Correct.
Yes.
But here, I think somewhere after the new economic reforms in 1991, our mindset has changed. Our desires have changed. Our cars are becoming bigger. Our houses are becoming bigger, and we are in that venture of getting everything new. So that is what
you know, Cleofato, out of the population of 1,400 million people, we are subsidizing food grains, giving free food to 800 million people.
Yes.
In the so-called development. 800 million people are getting free food grains because they are not in a position to maintain themselves out of a population of 1,400 odd million people. More than 50%, more than nearly 60% of the people. So that is the fate of liberalization. That is
correct. But then that very liberalization has created a aspirational class.
Yes.
That aspirational class does not permit
do you know what these young engineers are getting in this tech industry? Salary? 25,000 rupees.
Yes.
It's 15,000 in fact. And speaking of food grains, etc. Now, in fact, given the now only if you have an income of 5 lakhs or above 5 lakhs per family, then only you are entitled to ration. So there also they have finished that. The same people who are getting 15,000 per month, that whole sector is finished, and that's why we don't need also much agricultural land. I think they want to do something else with it. This is the policy.
And you are a youngster.
Young, yes.
When you think this generation Z will come up,
Z
like
is
they have come up,
Z is
justice
later.
has said.
Z is later. First, the millennials at least should be given a chance. In our assembly, we have only one young person. Let us see what happens now next. But only one young person, even ZPs, it's very difficult. They don't want, I think what happens is, there is some lack of trust also. When a young person is there, obviously they don't have that much of life lived or work done. So already that spring is short. So then the people also feel what can be there to propel. So there is a trust deficit also, people and young person between them, that relationship does not get established very soon. And that's what I would say. And also now with our social media and with our mobiles, there's a lot of isolation of each person. Everybody consumes only what they want. I don't have to share the same kind of entertainment as a doctor does. So once this isolation is there, people are in their own pockets. And in fact, I'm even in touch with some people in colleges, some students in colleges. And while they have very bright ideas, there is a lot of trampling down also. So then they tend to be more interested in their careers or their goals or their professional goals.
That is what I am saying, it's aspirational class.
Yes.
Careers, goals.
Yes.
This is what somehow is not allowing any movement.
That is a single person's aspiration, whereas there's no community aspiration as a whole. That's, I think, what is happening.
But that it goes only through the social media now.
That's a big contributing factor.
They say that the brain of the new generation is in the mobile.
Yeah, they are called internet natives.
Yes.
They are internet natives.
So, Justice Ravello, what would you suggest now to come out of all this black scenario that we are going through?
See, to come out of it, elections are won on money. People who don't have money, who can't spend the resources,
they are lost.
That's gone. Those days are gone. When I contested and won, it was on the wave of a Janta, and I may have spent 5,000 rupees because I had no money.
Oh, that's all.
That's all. And some people on their own may have spent some money.
But now you need crores.
Now you need crores because you see what happens. Every constituency there are ex-voters who will vote for a party. Now they need not be brought because they are committed.
Yeah.
Then you have to buy the other voters.
Yes.
And the stakes are rising every day for those other voters. And people are willing to take money from everybody. Ultimately whom they vote for, but then there are some, for example, if you have an office which provides every Friday or every Saturday something here and there, now they aspire that this man, if he continues, will continue to give us. How we don't know what may happen to the next. So that this man may be making his money from the system itself to pay them. Nobody questions, as long as I get it. So therefore, unless some radical idea comes in the minds of the people, they are given something that we must fight for this cause, then the money power may not be there. So think about this in this context. Build up a cause which people can be told, where at least to some extent the money power will disappear and people will fight for that particular cause. And I think this is that is alone perhaps that can save our institutions in Goa.
You have an experience in all this with the last contest. What is your say?
There is a little bit of fatigue also among the people, fatigue of the activism fatigue, I call it, because you propound a cause. Two causes should be the main cause. Two causes should be the big causes. But when each and everything becomes a cause, animal rights also, women's rights also, environmental rights also, everything is a cause. This is broadly I'm saying, but if there are some specific ones, then there is fatigue among the people. They don't want to also all the time attach themselves to these causes. And it's the same band of people who are doing it, who are attaching themselves to causes. There are a large number of other people who are the silent majority, and they are not aligning themselves to causes. As if it doesn't affect them, it does affect them. But they're not. They'd rather not. And the few people who are in all the causes. So then there is, for the viewer or for the consumer or for the voter or for the electorate, I feel that there is some fatigue there, activism fatigue, and that is affecting why people are not going to be very loyal to causes. So the cause has to be radical, as
Doctor,
Justice
you
has
also
said.
contested the
No,
elections.
what I see here, what I see is today the narratives that are being created by people and that are being put through the social media, and there's what you call as the hit and run social media, which we rarely see. But that's one of the strategies that people follow today. The moment they know that there is a trend that's moving in a particular direction, they'll create a narrative that will push you in that direction that people don't vote you, and that will happen no sooner you find that the last date for your campaign is over. You will find this narrative will go through to everybody as a narrative that will go to everybody who is a voter. So suddenly you find that you can't go and convince everybody and anybody, and you find that people who were there with you yesterday are not there today, and you find that another 2 days down the line people are going to vote, and you were not able to convert those people who were there with you. You were not able to convert them into votes for 2 days later for yourself. So these are the different strategies that people follow, and there are experts who are into this field who create these narratives. They'll involve the religious institution, they'll involve the church, they'll involve the temple, they'll involve the caste, they'll involve movements that we have participated in. They will also show some fake videos, and then every time you have to say this is a fake video and a fake video to convince people that okay Baba, this was not something which was true. But this hit and run type of mass media campaign on the last 2 days when the campaign is all over, the formal campaign is all over, is very dangerous. So this small piece of a tool that we are using today is playing a major role than anything else, and that's where people take your money, and there are people also being told, you take the money man what Seoula is giving, why are you bothered about, we'll drain her out. You also take another 10 fellows along with you and say that all these people are going to vote for her, and there will be a large group that comes in and Seoula feels okay, all these people are going to be mine. And then what do you find? The next day they are all giving all the cards and everything for another opposing candidate, and you're like, why did I give them the money? So these are the type of things that happen.
Advocate, to sum it up,
I am also in tune with the pessimism of Justice Ribello that nothing will come out of elections and that elections are run on money. But we are in a system where the government will come through the elections. And somehow all of us may have to contribute our bit in seeing to it that at least in 2027 something good happens.
Yes.
Something good happens. So each one of us contribute, and as Justice Ribello himself has put, that somebody with integrity, somebody who will not change for the first 5 years at least. So something like that should be thrown up for 2027.
To add to what Advocate Cleofato has said, some days ago, a minister in the present government, he said, maybe a new government, the opposition comes into power, but believe unless there is a link between this government and the government in New Delhi, you have to change. So he is already hinting, even if there is a change, things here will change, like it has happened twice now. Or
Twice.
people
And
elected
even
on
earlier.
one, and then because it says this double.
That is where that word person with integrity.
Integrity comes in, yeah.
You see, these are all professional politicians.
Yes.
These are not politicians who are in politics to do good for the people.
Yes.
They are there for business. Okay? Most of these politicians are there to do business, to milk the system, and then perhaps part some of it to their constituents.
Yes.
So these are people who are not there who have been in part of a social movement, who have been part of that, well, I like let's change society, let us do something. Now, for example, yes, Goa needs jobs, okay, fine. You can't do without jobs people are bound to migrate. So what kind of jobs are it going to bring in? And what are incentives are you going to give to those industries who come in? Now you just simply can't say that somebody is going to come in. Industries are very fine. They go wherever somebody gives them incentives because they save on the cost on running. So these are things that must be explored. Merely selling land is not the answer.
Yes, sir.
What is happening today? Selling land, money goes into a few pockets, that's all. And that is the main business. Unfortunately, what is happening?
But for all that, you need a new type of a leadership.
You have
The MLA must be different from they have nothing to do with the real estate mafia. If either now they are part of the mafia, they are part of the mafia, or they are connected with the real estate mafia. So somehow that has to be corrected.
They say that Goa lacks a good leadership with total integrity now.
That is right.
That is happening,
That is
unfortunately.
That's an established fact.
See, that is happening everywhere, but there are some good people, and when good people come, they have been run down.
Yes.
So, because the entire, the media works in such a manner that if there are promising people who are speaking out, coming out and working, they will not be allowed to rise. A mass manner where they are sought to be decried, brought down. But yet people are fighting. It's not that
Yes,
people are not
correct.
fighting.
Goa is very vocal.
Yes.
People are fighting. But your point I accept. Of course, there are various people working in various fields, in NGOs. But then the same people can't be working in every field. Okay, they must concentrate in areas which is their expertise.
From that you can tell the genuineness.
And no, see, genuine they are. In the sense, it's not that, but they feel that they must be there everywhere. So that benefit of doubt I'm willing to give them. but they're overstretching. Don't overstretch. Work in areas where you are good. Bring that up. Bring particular thing up. But then at the end of the day, parties are going to be there. Parties are not going to disappear. Question is whether these parties throw out better people.
Yes. That is the point.
That is-
That is the issue.
And-
At least some better person. Some people will
And
make much.
for that, some system whereby people vote to
Correct.
get that candidate for the party.
Yes.
Yes.
Not the system of sitting in Delhi
Correct.
that I will give the seat to X. like what you have in the United States system, for example, they have their primaries,
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
where the voters of those parties
Yes, yes.
vote for the candidate.
Correct, correct.
So some sort of that has to be brought
Come,
within the
yes.
parties here also. It can't be muge pass volo, pais fatla na astolo, and which fatla muge not astolo. It can't be.
Can't be.
Yeah.
It can't be. It has to be that some voice somewhere that the local voters who are there, of course, these people will also start buying people, but at least something will arise.
No, but this I liked. At least for 5 years, they'll be good.
At least.
Yes.
That is good. Yes. First 5 years.
I have given this because I know in the administration, the young IAS officers who come, in the first 5-10 years, they are really, really good. They don't think of corruption.
So we have to change them after 5 years.
Because I remember in 1 year, I was having a dispute with MRF and workers. I will not name the secretary. He said, "Sir, I will do it. I have no daughters to marry." So these young officers, I am giving these young officers are really good. As they grow up, then all this, no,
Yeah.
Cynicism and all
the
comes in.
temptation comes in, and then. But by and large, it was a strong backbone of our system. But then that is also getting diluted.
Yeah, eroded.
So I think we have finished the round 1 for us, and we'll hope that we meet again.
Yes, thank you.
And refine our thoughts in view of what is happening. Justice Rebello, we are proud that we have had you with us, and this is the first time that you came to CCR TV. Thank you so much on behalf of CCR TV. Advocate
Yes.
Cleofato, we
Oh,
have
no, we
been.
have-
So also Dr.
Yeah, thank
Jorson
you.
Native.
and Advocate Seoula.
Thank
Dev
you.
Boren Kurun,
Thank you.
Songlang Tumka.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you, thank you, thank you.